Good evening. The Committee on General Government Operation, Appropriation, and Housing convenes this public hearing. Public hearing notice were given to the media on Tuesday, February 18, and then on February 24th, and then today is, for the record, today is Thursday, February 27. It is now 5:30. The committee will hear and accept testimony, both oral and written, on the following, on Bill 253-35. Bill number 253-35, sponsored by Senator Amanda Shelton, co-sponsored by myself, Talina, Senator Vice Speaker or Acting Speaker Talina Cruz Nelson, and Speaker Tina Rose Munoz Barnes. An act to amend Section 28202 of the Chapter 28, Title 17, Guam Code, annotated benefits for merit scholarship recipients relative to grandfathering existing merit scholarship recipients from the changes in benefits made in Public Law 34-151, and expanding the applicability of the merit scholarship to encompass total cost of attendance to ensure the success of our merit scholars. I'd like to acknowledge my colleagues that have joined me, the Legislative Secretary, Senator Amanda Shelton, and Senator Will Castro. General rules for public hearing. The conduct of this public hearing shall be as follows. Those testifying will be recognized in the order of sign-up on the sign-in sheet. Written testimony may be read. Lengthy written testimony should be summarized to about 5 minutes. Written testimony shall be submitted to the committee. Please provide our legislative staff with your written testimony for photocopying. Testimony shall be confined to the substance. In other words, we're talking about Bill 253. We just stick to that subject. Okay, Sanjay? Persons will be allowed to present oral testimony once. Once you're done, you will be asked to remain in the room for questions or for additional testimony as may be desired by members of the panel. Proper form and decorum shall be practiced by all present in the public hearing room for these proceedings. Individuals who fail to maintain proper form and decorum may be restricted from providing oral testimony and or may be asked to leave or be escorted from the room. When you speak, please make sure that the microphone is on and that you speak into the microphone. Please, you would state your name for the record. I will now, before I ask the author of the bill to give her opening statement on the bill, I'd ask Sabrina, right? How do you pronounce your last name? See? Okay, come forward and then start from your far left and we'll work this way as I call the name so that you guys will be testifying in the order you sign in. We have Ms. or Mr. Flores. Okay, come on up, sir. We have Kiana. I'm not gonna destroy your last name. Okay, please come up. I'll let you in. We have Mason Obispo. I think that was an easy one. Come on up, sir. We have Sanjay. Come on up, sir. He's a GFT rep. I'm gonna count how many chairs we got left. We have Anita from UG. I don't know if it's in. I don't think that's. Is that you, ma'am? That Dr. Anita Enriquez, you signed in, ma'am? Okay. Well, but I got you, and the next one that signed in would be Anissa Tapasna. I have. Mark signed in, but he didn't sign in to testify, so I got you, Dr. Enriquez, and I got Anissa Tapasna. Okay, but do you plan on testifying? Who plans on testifying, Mark or you? Mark, then Mark, come on up to the last chair. You'll be the last one speaking anyway. So, come on up. Okay, and before we begin, I would ask there's probably more, right? But we'll move on from there. But I'll ask the author of the bill to make her opening statement, and then we'll begin with you, and we'll work our way down to your right, my left. Thank you. Okay. Senator Shelton.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and thank you for hearing Bill number 253 today. And I want to especially thank all of the students who've joined us and the administration from the University of Guam. Thank you very much for being here to testify on this bill. We came about Bill 253 as a fix to a public law that passed last last term in the 34th Guam Legislature in December 2018, and Public Law 34-151 changed the merit scholarship benefit in law so that the Pell Grant awarded to a student would apply first before the merit scholarship would pay the remaining tuition and fees to scholarship recipients of the University of Guam. However, merit scholarship students were not informed of the bill, the public hearing, and subsequent passage of the bill, and the change to their benefits until almost a year later in 2019. This change significantly altered the financial situations of many merit scholarship recipients who signed a contract with certain financial aid formulation in mind and planned and counted on a stable amount of benefit from their scholarship. So many of these students already had an academic plan in place where they were counting to receive both their merit scholarship and Pell Grant. Their financial aid award was able to cover a variety of expenses that surpassed that which the merit scholarship could provide. In addition to tuition and fees, their financial aid award would also cover books and supplies, room and board, and perhaps transportation. With their financial aid award applying first, students may be unable to pay for rent or transportation expenses incurred as they travel to and from the University of Guam. Living situations aside, this also affects their graduate and doctoral pursuits as they're unable to follow the academic plan that they've set forth for themselves. Furthermore, to change the award distributed while maintaining the years of service required without their consent would be a clear violation of their contract. Many students worked extremely hard in high school knowing that they were working toward the merit scholarship to obtain this benefit with all of their plans for their future in mind. And so, Mr. Chair, I worked with many of these students here who came to the both of us to fix this, to help them to continue with the plans that they set forth and to grandfather them into the law so that they're able to receive the Pell Grant and the Merit Scholarship. And moving forward past the fall semester next year, that's when we would change the law that you set forth in the 34th Guam Legislature so that we can see this savings for the university. So we saw this as a compromise for our students who wouldn't have to give up anything or sacrifice anything more in their academic plan and still carry on with your original intent of the bill. So thank you very much for your co-sponsorship and for hearing this bill today. And I look forward to the testimony from our students and from the different members of our community who are here so that we can strengthen this legislation.
Thank you, Senator Sheldon. We'll start with Sabrina. Okay, just press when the light turns on, you're on.
Buenas and half a day. I'm Sabrina Z. I write this letter in support of Senator Amanda Shelton's bill that will enact the grandfather clause to the current merit recipients of the University of Guam who are affected by the Public Law 34-151. I'm currently a freshman at the University of Guam and a recent graduate of John F. Kennedy High School. I have worked very hard all 4 years in high school aiming for the merit scholarship due to the fact that I know for sure that it will be nearly impossible for my parents to support me financially. My parents and I own a small restaurant in Harmon where we barely make $300 daily to support a family of 5. We do not have health insurance because any extra expense cannot be spent as every cent mattered to my family and I. When I was informed by my high school that I was qualified to become a merit recipient, I knew that UOG was the right one for me and politely declined acceptances from the University of Portland, University of Massachusetts Lowell, and Seattle University. In the future, I plan to pursue a career in the medical field. Growing up on Guam, I have noticed that the medical resources are severely low. I understand this island and I'm willing to come back and serve my community. However, I was hesitant to pursue such an uncertain and extremely expensive career. When I became aware that I was a merit recipient, I solidified my goal despite the fear and relieved to know that UOG will help me and attend medical school and all the other things I can do with the money from the Pell Grant, such as attending summer research, internships, and other expenses my parents and I cannot afford. On the date of the merit recipient orientation, we finally heard about the Public Law 34-151, and my spirit, and along with the other merit recipients, was crushed. How was I going to pay for all these things that my parents and I could never afford? Should I have taken a gap year to acquire more money for college? Maybe I should just drop out and stop being so ambitious. All of these thoughts rushed through me, and I felt so anxious and fearful. The news of the new law introduced at the orientation truly felt like a surprise attack, a really bad surprise attack. I was hurt, and I am sure many of my other peers felt the same. For my whole life, I have always believed and was told by the university that they will always welcome us and stand on the side of the students, and it felt like suddenly a grenade was given to us. Maybe I should not have been so ambitious. After all, I'm just a student of a humble family with a big dreams to change the world. I understand that some people may say that we are just losing a few thousands of dollars. And so not to worry because we have our tuition paid for. However, those few thousands of dollars can mean so much to students who are in the same situation that I am in. I'm truly grateful for the merit scholarship. Without this scholarship, I do not know where I will be able to earn money for my tuition. Currently, I have been already experiencing difficulties with paying for my tuition for intersessions, as merit does not cover any of the expenses. I have been applying for scholarships and finding other ways to get money to pay for those expenses. Please do understand that I am not simply a complaining or whining. The Pell Grant money will absolutely assist me in my education and giving back to Guam, my home. I understand that some may say that all of the merit recipients are the same as the other regular students who are struggling financial issues. However, I really hope that you would be able to understand the merit recipient sides and our concerns about a negative impact that Public Law 34-151 would cause us, students in the short and long run. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for always supporting the students of Guam, our home. Sizuis Maasi.
Thank you. We will have Mr. Flores. Sir.
Sizos Mahasi, Mr. Chair. Buenas and half a day, Senator San Agustin, Senator Castros, and Senator Shelton. Guahusi Nolan Flores, Sizos Mahasi, por esta oportunidad para be apati ihina sokuds and hamzu. Gagi Guni Pakgu, como representative, in Universidad Guahan para y Congresun Manhobin Guahan. After closely following the situation and after hearing many of the concerns of my peers, I stand in support of Bill 253-35. The implementation and execution of the statute, which Bill 253-35 seeks to amend, Public Law 34-151, has proven incredibly disadvantageous, burdensome, and even distressing for many students, some of which are here today. The original intent of Public Law 34-151 was to free up funding for the purpose of awarding more merit scholarships to our island's high-achieving youth. However, neither PL 34-151 nor any accompanying legislation contains any provisions to amend the relative part of GCA, Chapter 28, Title 17. Thus, Public Law 34-151 has not provided for additional merit scholarships and thus has not fulfilled its original intent. The main issue, however, lies with UOG's implementation of the law 34-151, as well as the lack of stakeholder input. Although the law was enacted in December of 2018, students were not informed of any changes to their contract until August of 2019, leaving them with inadequate time to prepare for the changes. Additionally, merit students were not given any direct notice of the bill during the draft and legislative process. If the university was aware of this bill, I do think it had the responsibility to notify students of any potential changes to their financial and educational situation. Although my colleague in the Guam Youth Congress, Representative Aldabang, originally testified in support of the bill, he was under the false impression that more merit scholarships would be awarded. He has since rescinded his support for Public Law 34-151 and expressed his support of this new bill. Nevertheless, the students who are ultimately affected by this bill were neither notified of the bill nor informed of the potential effects on their education. Regardless of where the failure of communication occurred, students were disadvantaged by the process. Bill 253-35 seeks to right this wrong. Finally, I cannot testify here as a representative of the students and not call attention to the many hardships they've experienced as a result of Public Law 34-151. For many students, their educational success is highly dependent on the awarding of their Pell Grant. The use of the Pell Grant varies with student uses, some using it to pay for summer and intersession classes in order to meet their expected graduation date, to supplement the high cost of textbooks and supplies, and to provide transportation to and from school, among other things. Those who previously received the Pell Grant before the new law have been forced to adapt to this loss of financial support with some working additional jobs, thus placing a strain on their college experience and potentially threatening their educational success. In addition, new merit students for academic year 2019 to 2020 who anticipated receiving the Pell Grant during their time at UOG have faced similar struggles. Many of those students crafted their college plans around the fact that they would be eligible to receive the Pell Grant. For many even, their decision to accept the merit scholarship and attend UOG was greatly influenced by the premise. It is clear that students have been unjustly disadvantaged by the implementation of the law. Therefore, I am in support of any measure which seeks to relieve students of these adverse impacts. In final thought, Bill 253-35 seeks to right the wrongs caused by the arbitrary implementation of Public Law 34-151. Bill 253-35 allows the body, as well as the university, to reaffirm its commitment to some of our island's highest achieving students. It acknowledges their hard work and invests in their future contributions to our island. However, while this bill does provide relief for those adversely impacted, I encourage further consideration of Public Law 34-151 in order to precisely lay out methods of implementation to prevent further confusion and arbitrary implementation on UOG's part. I'd like to thank all the merit scholars here today, as well as those who contributed to the efforts to fix the situation. The great efforts made by students to address these problems through legislative actions is a true testament to the university's mission of Ina Discovery Setbi. I trust that you will continue to support this mission. I'd like to extend a further ndangklun asidos maasi to Senator San Agustin and Senator Shelton and all other co-sponsors for their dedication to us students and their responsiveness in addressing this matter. Agradeci azurun mizu sidos maasi.
Thank you, Mr. Flores. We have Siana, right?
Buenas and half a day to the senators of the 35th Legislature of Guam. My name is Shauna Bataklan, and I write this testimony as an appeal to support Bill 253-35 that would grandfather current University of Guam merit scholars affected by Public Law 34-151. PL 34-151 has negatively affected many Pell Grant eligible merit scholars that rely on both the Pell Grant and the merit scholarship to maintain their livelihoods and their studies. Incoming merit students for the Fanutsanan 2019 semester were notified that they would not be getting their Pell Grant due to the change in the law during their orientation and contract signing on August 16, 2019. Current merit students were informed of the effect on August 22, 2019, without ample notice. I couldn't drop any of my classes and therefore was stuck taking 21 credits with no time to seek employment. Due to the lack of adequate notification and ambiguity with whether the law would affect us or not, we students could not help but feel like the situation was unfair towards us. Many students expressed their disappointment and distress caused by the situation, some even considering dropping out from the university in order to prevent any financial issues. We students reached out to local leaders to appeal for the law to be changed because we were greatly affected by it. Merit students attending the University of Guam chose to attend the institution with the knowledge that we would be supported by both the merit scholarship and the Pell Grant, which was a big factor in deciding where to pursue further education. Students declined several other scholarships and offers from other universities with this knowledge in mind. We chose to attend the University of Guam in hopes of giving back to the community through our service after we graduate, but this issue has impeded our goals and aspirations, not only for ourselves, but for our island. My family has been undergoing a severe financial crisis since last fall due to this issue, and it is necessary for me to step in to ensure that we are able to survive and be stable enough. I now have a full-time job for the semester while taking 18 credit hours, which I have been struggling to balance. I am also expected to maintain a 3.0 grade point average in order to keep my merit scholarship. Throughout the fall semester, I tried my hardest to appeal to the university and the legislature so they may see that we merit students that qualify for the Pell Grant are struggling. I gave it my all and tried to let the professionals at both the university and the legislature handle it in the hopes that an agreement could be reached and a refund of our Pell Grant would be given, but my family has run out of time. My mom works a minimum wage job and we live from paycheck to paycheck. We dig into our savings to pay bills as well, but we are low on funds. I decided to seek employment despite being a full-time student because I did not want to see my mother struggle to make ends meet any longer. I am currently in my second year at the University of Guam as a biology biomed major with a minor in women and gender studies. I have been a Merit Scholar since my entry to the University of Guam after becoming the John F. Kennedy High School Class of 2018 salutatorian. After graduating from the University of Guam, I plan to pursue an MD PhD dual degree program in the United States and focus on women's health disparities in the Pacific region. I plan to come back to Guam to serve the island that has given so much to me. However, this law has not only put my future career and academic goals on hold, but has defunded the future of our island community. I had big aspirations and dreams to become a medical physician so that I may assist Guam by catering to their severe medical needs. As I balance being a university student and one of the student leaders for this cause, I hope that you all may consider supporting Senator Amanda Shelton's bill to grandfather the current merit students. I am a child of a single mother who works a minimum wage job to make ends meet. I heavily relied on the Pell Grant to help assist my mother and I. We have an estimated family contribution of $0. I utilized my Pell Grant to pay for extra supplies, transportation expenses, and other living expenses associated with being a student so my mother will not have to worry about them. I also used some of my Pell Grant to help pay for extra expenses when I attended the Build Exeter orientation in Portland, Oregon, this past summer. I am also in the process of applying to other programs to attend this summer, despite not having the Pell Grant, to ease the financial burdens that I will face. Now that I am not receiving my Pell Grant, I am unable to pay my expenses and have to rely on my mother since the Merit Scholarship stipend is not enough. At the moment, we barely have enough money to fully pay our monthly rent, as well as my car loan, along with other living expenses. I am extremely honored to be a student at the University of Guam. I am a proud Merit Scholar, and I have been on the President's list for the past 2 semesters. Although my involvement in pushing for this bill's passage has severely impacted my grade point average. I admire all of the opportunities that the university has given to students like me who would not be able to afford a college education otherwise. However, without the Pell Grant to assist my family, I fear that I may not be able to achieve my goals and give back to both my island and the university. I humbly appeal to you all to support Senator Amanda Shelton's bill in order to help the many other Merit students who are negatively impacted by this law. Thank you very much for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Kiana. Mr. Obispo, right? Okay, sir.
Half a day. My name is Mason Obispo, and I'm a senior at the University of Guam and a Merit Scholar recipient. I learned about the unfortunate changes to PL 34-151 through word of mouth, and I, like many others, were not notified when the changes happened until many months afterward. Furthermore, we even learned that the university had a public hearing like this one, and again, we were not notified about any information. This, for many of us, came as a surprise, which warranted to many financial adjustments in a very short amount of time. I'm here in support of this bill, number 253-35. I graduated high school in 2017 with the idea that the Merit Scholarship will cover all financial expenses needed for me to attend the University of Guam, and that is the contract I signed. It is both a blessing and a privilege to attend the university and further my education. However, it seems that the university has used our low-income status to cushion costs of this full-ride Merit Scholarship, and this is not right. When you infuse items such as the Pell Grant, a need-based grant according to the income of your parent or guardian, with items such as the Merit Scholarship, a scholarship based off of one's academic achievements, it creates a dilemma in where the scholarship based off of one academic achievements now is subjugated to whether or not our parents or guardians make enough. Suzus Maasi, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sanjay.
Senator Shelton, Senator San Agustin, Senator Castro, thank you for taking time to listen to our public hearing. To my former students at JFK, thank you. This makes me really proud to see you come in front of the legislature to give your testimony. It does make me very proud. Again, my name is Sanjay Sharma, president of GFT, and GFT opposes Bill 253-35. GFT does not make a habit of weighing in on a bill unless it deals with the working conditions of its membership. This bill, however, is robbing some of our poor students of up to $5,500 a year, and GFT stands against this injustice. Changing the effective date to allow a few more students to continue receiving benefits of the Pell Grant and the Merit Scholarship is not the solution in fixing this egregious theft that occurred in Public Law 34-151. Public Law 34-151 allowed UOG to use funds awarded to students under the Pell Grant to apply to their tuition first. The Merit Scholarship would then cover the remainder of tuition. In the past, students applied their Merit Scholarship and received the Pell Grant award in the form of money that they could use. The money given to our students circulate in our economy by providing $5,500 a year to students who need money for basic expenses such as rent, gas, and food. The Pell Grant is a form of need-based federal financial aid that typically does not have to be repaid, which makes it highly desirable. It is awarded by the United States Department of Education to help eligible low-income students pay for college costs, including tuition, fees, room and board, and other educational expenses. The Pell Grant is awarded to thousands of eligible students annually throughout the United States. Most recipients come from families where the annual household income falls below $25,000 a year. The Pell Grant exists to help students overcome obstacles of financial hardship. The university determines if they want to receive the Pell Grant first or the Merit Scholarship first. When the Merit Scholarship was accepted first, which was the case for many years, the Pell Grant was considered an overpayment and given to students in the form of money that they could use. This, of course, is based on the academic achievement of the student and the socioeconomic status to qualify for both the Merit Scholarship and the Pell Grant. Poor students who qualify to receive a Pell Grant on top of the Merit Scholarship will have some extra income to support their dreams on earning a degree. Students were told that Public Law 34-151 would not affect their ability to receive the Pell Grant, but that makes no sense since they will see none of it. If the Pell Grant applies first, the Merit Scholarship would cover the rest of the tuition. In effect, there would be no overpayments that students could receive as cash. This would negate any substantial benefit to students who come from a low socioeconomic background. Plainly, this robbed our poor top achievers. Had the students attended any other school, other aid would have been applied first, and they would have received any overpayments by the Pell Grant as money they could use. In the long term, students will not apply for Pell Grant because there will be no incentive, making Guam lose $22,000 per student who qualify. This bill has a negative effect on the island by reducing the amount of cash circulating on island. This change, if clearly articulated to our graduating students, sends a clear message that some universities in the mainland will be cheaper for our scholars because they could qualify for a scholarship and receive a Pell Grant. The fix is simple. Allow the Merit Scholarship to apply first. Let any additional grants like the Pell Grant apply after the Merit Scholarship. Bill 253-35 delays when the students are robbed, and it is not a solution in fixing the problem caused by Public Law 34-151. Looking at UOG's website, off of an article that they've published on 2018, it said that 58 students received the Merit Scholarship. Assuming that students received $50,000 for their 4 years, this equated to $2.9 million. Again, trying to save money on this, if you apply the Pell Grant Awards, which students would be receiving $22,000 on their 4 years, this would save roughly about $1 million. But that's assuming if all the students received their Pell Grant. And with the passage of this law, once it goes in effect, students will no longer have to sign up for their Pell Grant, meaning it will be about $1 million less in funds coming over to Guam and circulating through our economy. So this bill has a negative effect overall. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanjay. We have, let me see. You are Christine? No. Tapasa. Oh, okay, yes. Please, yeah. Anissa Deposna. Okay, there you go.
Buenas and Hafade Toto Samzu. My name is Anissa Tapasnia, and I'm currently a sophomore at the University of Guam, majoring in biology on the biomed track and minoring in Samoro Studies. I'm also a senator for UOG's 58th Student Government Association and a merit scholar. I'm here today in support of Bill number 253-35, which grandfathers existing merit scholars from the changes made in Public Law 34-151. This law has allowed for the University of Guam to take the Pell Grant of merit scholar recipients to be used for their tuition prior to using actual merit scholarship funds. This abrupt change in policy was only made known to the merit scholar recipients in the first few days of the Fanusanan 2019 semester, which is the same semester which it would be enacted, despite its passage in December of 2018. The failure to inform students of Public Law 34-151 was far from being the only thing that disadvantaged Pell-eligible merit students. The law itself prevents merit scholars from succeeding to their fullest potential. Many merit scholars stated that they have used their Pell Grant for additional supplies, transportation, and other educational expenses. The Pell Grant has even funded some merit scholars' travel to off-island educational enrichment and research programs. In losing our Pell Grants so that the university could save more money, we are also losing out on many opportunities for growth and success as ambassadors of the university and of our island. Additionally, because we are under this scholarship, we are required to pay it back in service on Guam for the equal amount of time in years that we use the scholarship. So if the Pell Grant covers majority of a merit scholar's tuition while merit pays what little is left, which is the case for many of the merit scholars, what exactly are we paying back? This law has made many merit scholars question whether it was even worth it to stay on island for college. We are your future, and we're Guahan's future, and we should not be having to take this time out of our studies to fight for our island and our school to invest in us. Zitos Masi to all senators involved in this bill, and I ask that you all support the students in favor of Bill 253-35 para iman maila na linalata for our future. Zitos Masi.
Thank you. Mark, you're next. And then we have 10 other students that have signed up, right? Okay, they'll be testifying. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Chairman San Agustin, Senator Shelton, and Senator Castro. This is a pretty long testimony, and I'll just read it.
Do you have a
submit.
copy of it?
Yeah.
And if you can summarize it, it'd be better because
Yeah, I think I'll summarize it.
okay, just the gist of your.
But even the summary is a little bit long.
A little bit long?
Yeah, but
Do
let
you
me.
have you made additional copies? I don't think we have a copy.
I don't have a copy.
Well, then provide a copy, and then right there's my staff next to you.
Thank you.
You have your own copy, right? So
Yes,
that we can.
So I will read.
Okay, 'cause I want to make sure the students, everybody go back to school. I mean, go back to the university. You know, that's really what it is.
Okay. You want me to read, or we get the students to go first?
If you like, we can have the students come up, and we'll have.
Yeah,
you
I
to
think
tell it.
we'll let all the students first, and then
All right.
I'll
Okay,
read.
Mark. Well, the students that are here don't leave. I mean, leave the chair so we get the next round, but don't leave the hearing room because there are going to be some statements made. Trust me, there will be some statements. But and Sanjay, you're opposed to the bill. What are you basically asking?
I oppose the bill. I'm asking that the merit scholarship apply first, then the Pell Grant. That changing the date alone, although it would be beneficial for the short term, it's not a long-term fix. Merit scholarship apply first, then Pell Grant, like it was before.
So you're asking to repeal 34-151. Is that what you're asking for?
Uh,
Just say that, Sanjay. I mean, I understand.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Now, as for the, let me see, if I pronounce your name wrong, okay, I'm not, that was never intended to do that. I got Ludwig, Annabelle, Ludwig, is that? See, I'm not trying to murder your name, okay, so I have, I think it says Ludwig, or is it Ludwig, Ludwig? Is there, no? You have to be here. I mean, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Can I have the 6 students or parent that signed up? I'll read them. Tedinko, you got Jacqueline, you got Noah, you have Christ. Okay, we have Marino. We have, I don't know if that Mosca. Oh, it is Mosca. Are you my neighbor? No, right? Okay. No, I have Mosca's right across the street from my house. I'm just checking. We have Jean Didasco. And I know we have Dr. Carter. We're going to save you, Dr. Carter. And I know we have Dr. Christ. You signed up to testify, sir? Dr. Christ, Dr. Anita. Did Dr. Christ, did you sign up to testify? No. What you put down here, written testimony and oral, and I think it's you because it says T. Christ. Okay. Okay. Thank you. So after, just want to make sure I cover everybody. We have one more, Lawrence Camacho. No, law. But that's the dean. The dean is Lawrence Camacho? Yes. Did you sign up to... Lawrence, did you sign up to testify or you just signed up but... No? Mark? Okay, we'll refer to Mark. So we'll begin with... I don't know if the name came out in order, but doesn't matter. We'll start with you, ma'am, and then we'll work our way down.
Got it.
And then we get ready to have a good conversation with Mr. Mark.
Okay.
Ma'am.
Hi, I am Terra Regis Tidinko. I'm a teacher at JFK. I've also attended classes at UOG, and my son was a Merit Scholarship recipient, but he is not affected by this change in the law, but I felt that it was important enough to be here to support my students. Okay. Good evening, Senators. And thank you for the opportunity to share my testimony. Okay. I'm here to speak in support of the students who've already been awarded the Merit Scholarship, and I'm asking that the university honor the original terms of the contract so that the poorest students do not lose funding that is needed in order for them to continue their studies. Okay? I read the Public Law 34151, the merit contracts that the students signed, the proposed amendment, email responses from the senators, and notes from the meeting with the merit recipients and a representative from the Office of Financial Aid. And honestly, I did not want to get involved because I think it's important for these students to fight for what they feel is right. But I got the impression that they were not being heard. Okay? So I'm speaking as their teacher, someone who's encouraged all of our students to pursue some type of education or training after graduation, with UOG being one of those solid options. Okay. I'm confident in that advice because I've seen a lot of progress that the university has made over the past 20 years, and I see the commitment to grow and meet the needs of our island community. Okay. I see changes that are student-centered and focused on enhancing the quality of the student experience. However, I am concerned with what is going on with the Merit Scholarship and the Office of Financial Aid at UOG. This is an issue that could have easily been overlooked because all of the merit recipients are still receiving their scholarships, but keep in mind that although the wording in the contract was never changed, the interpretation of the law significantly reduces the amount of financial aid funds that the poorest students would have received, as they have shared. Thank you. Okay, today, I'm not saying anything about the need for the Merit Scholarship. What I am asking for is to honor the agreement that was made with these prior recipients. Okay? The law was passed in December 2018, and in May 2019, merit recipients were contacted to confirm whether they were continuing their studies at UOG. They were not informed until August 2019 of the changes to the merit scholarship law. The merit recipients were not informed and had no opportunity to give input on the proposed changes. I know this has been said. Now, this made no sense to me because I could not believe that someone would be so incompetent to forget to include the individuals that would be directly affected by this law. But then I realized that students were not contacted because the intent of the law was not to affect prior recipients, okay? It was not meant to take away money from prior merit recipients. That would be similar to a breach of contract. If that were the case, they would have been contacted much sooner. I'm confident of that. Someone realized that the law did not specifically exclude previous recipients and decided to interpret the law in a way that would take thousands of dollars away from the poorest students. They found a loophole. I don't know how anyone could think that this was okay, but it is wrong. Telling the poorest students that they would have to survive off of $300 a month is a very different message than the one that they were given when they signed those contracts. These students have given so much of their time and their energy to our communities, and I look forward to seeing what more they will contribute to the island. Understand that they are not asking for special treatment. They are disciplined, intelligent, motivated, and they understand struggle. One of the pieces of advice that I've been giving my students who plan to attend UOG is to save some money before the start of the semester to make sure that they or their parents, have a credit card that they could use to buy books until they could be reimbursed by financial aid. It's become so common for financial aid funding to be released late that it's just accepted. Stories about students struggling because they did not receive their financial aid funds until 3 or 4 months after the semester had started are not uncommon. I distinctly remember the look of panic on one merit scholar's face when I mentioned that, because her parents did not have an extra $100, $200, $300 to cover book and supply expenses. So she started looking for a summer job because, like many of our students, she knew that although her parents worked very hard, they did not have extra money to cover those expenses while waiting for financial aid. Okay? So please understand, these students are not asking for their Pell Grant funds because they're selfish. They're asking because $300 a month is not enough to survive. They're also asking because had they attended any other university, they would have received any excess Pell Grant funds, but they chose UOG. Had they known that the terms of the contract were going to change, they could have opted to attend a different school. I am asking you to remember what it's like to be a struggling student. Remember what it's like to have every single dollar count. Respect the terms of the original agreement and follow the process that was followed with the current merit recipients. Please do not take money away from the poorest students. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good evening, Senators. My name is Jacqueline Caboose, and I'm a freshman attending the University of Guam, majoring in chemistry, pre-pharmacy, and I'm also a recipient of the Merit Scholarship. I'm in attendance this evening in support of Bill number 253-35 that was introduced by Senator Amanda Shelton. Public Law 34-151, a law that directly affected the financial circumstances of many merit students, including myself, was announced to the new merit recipients on the 16th day of August in 2019, 8 months after it was passed and 6 days before the first day of classes. Once it was announced, the only thing to emerge from it for me and for many others was problems. The first problem I encountered began the day it was announced. I come from a low-income household with a single-parent mother who works as a teacher and 4 other sisters. Beforehand, I was fortunate enough to have attended the same school that my mother was working at, which did not make transportation an issue. Once I got to college, however, it became one of the biggest issues I faced. I was expecting to receive almost $5,000 from my Pell Grant to purchase a car, but because of the current law, Public Law 34-151, this expectation was now void. I no longer had a reliable way to get to and from school or to and from my labs, and oftentimes would have to either go to school very early or stay back late to wait for a ride. My mother, who makes barely enough to pay for our utilities and food, could not buy me a car, and I was then faced with the stress of finding transportation not just for that one semester, but for my entire 4 years at UOG. To try and work with this problem, I inquired about using my financial aid to pay for a dorm room. However, when I requested it, I was immediately rejected by more than one staff member in the financial aid office. The next problem I encountered came towards the end of last semester. My mother, seeing me struggle to ask people for a ride to school, took out her retirement to buy me a used car that my Pell Grant would have and should have been able to cover. This, however, again, was not the end. Currently, I'm working significantly more hours at my job to compensate for the necessities that my Pell Grant would no longer cover, such as my textbooks, supplies, intersession classes, and to save for my inevitable graduate studies. These are problems that I thought would be non-existent when I signed my contract. These are problems that I didn't think I'd have to endure because of all the hard work I put in during high school and because of my financial aid. Graduating in the top 2 of my class was not easy, and I sacrificed so much that I will no longer get back. I sacrificed my time, my attention, and my passions all to graduate amongst the top of my class and to be a merit recipient. I sacrificed it all so I wouldn't have to endure the very problems that I'm faced with right now. To put things simply, I don't believe that it's fair that us merit recipients who come from low-income families and who came to UOG expecting this financial aid are the ones who are suffering the negative effects. I do not believe that it's fair that we, the students who exhibit exceptional financial need, are the ones sacrificing thousands of dollars a year that was given to us because of our family's disadvantage, while recipients from high-income families have nothing taken away. I also don't believe it's fair that we were only made aware of these changes 6 days before the semester was to begin, with no time left to choose to attend a university elsewhere. I'm in support of Senator Shelton's bill because it gives low-income merit students the benefits that our families were granted and the benefits we were expecting when we chose to attend UOG. To conclude, it's of my greatest hopes that the decision made is one that's fair and one that's just, and one that doesn't find a solution by taking away from students with low-income families. Thank you.
Thank you. I just ask everybody that if you have any testimony, if you haven't provided, please provide it because it's part of the committee report. We'll be, we will be transcribing the hearing, but if you have your testimony, please don't hesitate to leave it because I take it to heart when there's testimony in writing. Okay, sir.
Good evening, Senators. My name is Noah Nicole Elbow, and I'm a freshman at the University of Guam, majoring in civil engineering under the Merit Scholarship. Firstly, I would like to thank you all for granting me this opportunity to speak about this issue. I'm here in support of Bill 253-35, which ensures that we current merit recipients may receive the benefits we expected when we accepted the Merit Scholarship. The Merit Scholarship, as most of us know, is a scholarship provided to students who have the highest academic standing in their class. I, for one, was the valedictorian of Bukudu High School's class of 2019, so naturally I was awarded the Merit Scholarship for my hard work. Another thing I received was the Pell Grant, a grant provided by the federal government to college students who exhibit exceptional financial need, and I qualified for this grant by the unnoticed circumstances of my success. I am an immigrated, first-generation student from a low-income family that earns less than $20,000 in a year, and that is just the gist of it. Without Bill 253-35, the merit gives no consideration for such difficulties. It fails to reflect that I, along with others, am a student with more need than others, and most importantly, it fails to separate a scholarship that I earned through hard work and a grant that my family has been given to help us in our journey of my higher education. Without Bill 253-35, the merit severely lacks equity and fairness. It is the merit recipients who have low family incomes that are being stripped of up to $6,200 yearly, while the ones with high family incomes lose absolutely nothing. To make matters worse, we are all expected to repay the same service, which is contradictory to the federal government's grant that we don't have to pay a single penny. To add to my concern, I would also like to point out the improper manner in which this issue was introduced to me. As a freshman, I had my first point of contact with UOG back in June 2019. I received a merit offer from UOG detailing every single detail, every single benefit, and every single obligation that I was to abide with, and we were not told of anything of us being stripped of our Pell Grant. There was no language whatsoever that said this. Therefore, when my family and I signed and notarized my promissory note and acceptance of the scholarship, we were still expecting to receive our financial aid, and continue to do so until 6 days before the first day of class, which is around August of 2019. I would like to state that I understand UOG has its budget constraints, but I extremely disagree that this is a just and fair solution. Without the amendment to the bill, UOG takes thousands of dollars from the merit recipients who are in need and yet inconsiderately expects us to repay the same debt. The merit as it is not what we signed 4 years of our life in our contract, and we would simply like to have that back. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sir.
Hoffaday. My name is J Moreno, and I'm a current psychology and biology med track major here at the university, and I'm also a supporting body of the 58th Student Government Association as a senator. I wrote this letter today to both express my concern and severe disagreement regarding the Public Law 34-151 and my favor towards its amends. As a current first-generation college student of my family, which is a role that many of us scholars here play today, having such a law take away our use of the Pell Grant is quite limiting. This may not be the case for everybody who obtains the Pell Grant and the Merit Scholarship, but such financial support has helped many of our education and our families beyond the Merit Scholarships realm. It has eased books and supply payments beyond what Merit could cover. It has provided transportation costs, as many have said today, that my parents used to no longer worry for. Has also allowed me to learn and pursue opportunities beyond the comfort of my island. Early propositions of this bill argued that this new law should not affect us merit scholars at all, and if you still think this way, then obviously neither the administration nor the legislature have taken any of our voices or our concerns. So please think about it. Is this really the type of service that we deserve as people who are bound to serve the community of Guam in the future? Out of everything at stake between the university and the legislature, why is it that the central and most integral bodies, us, the students, being affected the most? Consider it a political scheme, if you will, but we students are not pawns of this game. We are the brightest and strongest members of our current generation, and we're not going to stop until we receive what was rightfully ours to begin with. Thank you.
Thank you. You could just turn it off. Okay. Ms. Mosca.
Hoffaday, Senators of the 35th Guam Legislature. My name is Kiana Mosca, and I'm here today to testify in support of Bill number 253-35. As a current freshman and a recipient of the Merit Scholarship and the Pell Grant, I have not yet had the opportunity to utilize the Pell Grant. Notwithstanding, in the upcoming years, I can assure you that it will help to ensure my academic success during my time at the University of Guam. Presently, I am declared for a degree in chemistry and biology under the College of Natural and Applied Sciences. Upon creating and reviewing my academic plan, the course load for the upcoming years is quite heavy, reaching from 70 to 20 credit hours each semester, which exceeds the standard of 12 credit hours for a full-time student. As I must graduate within 4 years. To ensure focus and commitment for each and every single course, I had previously planned to move some scheduled courses to spring intersession or summer. However, I would not be able to afford it without the help of the Pell Grant. Additionally, the Pell Grant would be used to supplement the cost of supplies that will most definitely increase as I further into my academic track. Although the Merit Scholarship does supply a book and supply stipend, considering the amount and type of courses I will be taking each semester, the cost of the textbooks and supplies I need for them would exceed the $350 allotment given per semester by far. Additionally, I plan to apply and participate in research opportunities, many of which would be off-island, and I would most likely need to personally fund them. Far from finally, the much-needed funds will be used to get me to and from campus each day. While getting a part-time job can supplement the costs, it would most definitely interfere with my ability to perform to the best of my ability at the University of Guam. Ultimately, the Pell Grant will allow me to work efficiently and to my fullest capacity without having to worry about having too many credit hours per semester, how I would gain funds for expensive supplies, how I would fund the expense of an upcoming research opportunity, or how I could get to and from campus. As an individual who strives for academic excellence, the Pell Grant will certainly ensure that I achieve my goals exceptionally. Moreover, I ask to please pay attention to the people who are affected by the loss of their Pell Grant. We are the products of Guam high schools who earned our way to receive the Merit Scholarship. We are students coming from low-income families who chose the University of Guam as a stepping stone to become functioning members of society, to beat the odds. So, if the funds from the Pell Grant are needed to maintain our path to academic excellence at the university level and prevent us from halting our academic careers because of paralyzing financial responsibilities, then please allow us to have the funds available. It is important to ask ourselves, is it favorable to cut corners on the already financially strained to provide for others? Again, Senators of the 35th Guam Legislature, I ask for your support to pass Bill number 253-35 so that people in similar situations and I can perform to the best of our abilities on our island at the University of Guam. Thank you for your time.
Sidious Masi. Jean, go ahead.
Buenas and Hafade, Senador Shelton, Senador Castro, Sizus Masi por esta oportunidad. Good evening, my name is Jean Didasco. I was a merit recipient in the 90s. I graduated from the University of Guam as a summa cum laude, and now I'm a public school teacher and an advocate for our high school students. And I'm proud to say that two of the students sitting in this panel here were my former students. Public Law 34-151 may have had good intentions to save the government of Guam some money by first applying the federal monies from the Pell Grant and then the local monies in the Merit Award. My question, however, is how much savings does that amount to? Is that savings amount worth more than the value of supporting our academic scholars who rely on the additional monies from the Pell Grant to support their higher education pursuits, especially when they come from a low socioeconomic background? The merit scholars who come from a low socioeconomic background need as much financial support as possible in order to be successful in higher education, because more often than not, these are students who are first-generation college students. They are likely the first in their family to go to college and graduate, since they have proven themselves while in the K-12 school system on Guam. From my personal and professional experience as a public high school teacher, when a student comes from a low socioeconomic background and is still able to place at the top of his or her class academically, it is a remarkable feat, because all research points to the contrary, that students who are in poverty have the hardest time succeeding academically for various reasons. A merit scholar who comes from a low socioeconomic background must be supported to the fullest financially and socially, because they have had the greatest odds against them living in poverty and in environments likely not conducive to education, and yet they have overcome and succeeded in the academic world. Please support Bill 253-35, which seeks to do that by applying the merit scholarship first and then the Pell Grant, so that these merit scholars who absolutely need the additional financial support may do so and utilize the Pell Grant for such things as rent, transportation, academic resources, and anything else related to their success in higher education. Another issue to consider in this discussion is equity. Is it equitable that a merit scholar who needs the additional Pell Grant to support their higher education pursuits is put into the same boat as a merit scholar who doesn't qualify for a Pell Grant? What this comes down to, Senators, is this. When you apply the Pell Grant first and then the Merit Award, essentially you are taking additional financial support from merit scholars who come from low socioeconomic backgrounds. Why is this? Because the Pell Grant, which may amount to $6,000 plus per academic year, would be applied first, and then the Merit Award would pay off the difference in UOG tuition and fees. If a merit scholar doesn't qualify for the Pell Grant because their family has a higher socioeconomic status, that means they are middle class or higher, then the full amount of UOG tuition and fees is covered by the Merit Award. How is this fair? How is it fair that a poor merit scholar has his or her $6,000 plus Pell Grant taken away and applied to tuition and fees, while a merit scholar who is a middle class or higher and who doesn't need the Pell Grant has his or her tuition and fees paid in full by the Merit Award? That means the Merit Award is more utilized by middle class or higher students, while poor merit scholars who need the most financial support only utilize partial of the Merit Award, since the Pell Grant was used first to pay tuition and fees. And in the end, the service to the island is the same, based on the number of years that the Merit Award was used. This is not equitable, this is not fair. For these reasons, I kindly ask all the senators to support Bill number 253-35 relative to amending Public Law 34-151 that seeks to allow merit scholars to apply the Merit Scholarship Award first before the Pell Grant. Additionally, if there is any chance, it can be amended once again so that the bill would apply the merit scholarship first for all subsequent merit recipients beyond the Fanutanen semester of 2020. Please do so. Public Law 34-151 is not fair or equitable for merit scholars who come from low socioeconomic backgrounds, and it certainly devalues the worth of academic achievers and stacks the odds even higher because it robs those most in need of financial support by way of utilizing the Pell Grant for additional expenses related to higher education. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Did you provide us a copy of your testimony?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, folks, ladies and gentlemen. There's only one other person that needs to come forward before I have Mr. Duarte speak. Angelo Pauly? Coming up, sir. Like I said, folks don't leave. Okay, I see a lot of hands waving. What are you saying you signed up to testify, or? Yes? No? You did? And what is your, come on up, and then I just want to make sure I put a check mark on your name. And your name is? Anna Neary? Huh? Okay. Joe, get them the sign-in sheet so we can get their names, and I don't, maybe because the way you wrote it, I cannot read it. She's going to look at it. Some of the names, I don't want to murder the names. Oh, the first one. Oh, you didn't mark oral testimony. Okay, I'm going to mark it. Are you in the sport? And who's the other one? I got Anna. That's you, right? Okay, and her name is? Catherine Tabanar. Let's see. Hold on, Joe. Hold on to that one. Let's see. Because you were the first one to sign in. You know that, right, Anna? You were the first one to sign in, but you didn't mark testify or what? Yeah, D. Technology, right? Okay, they'll sign in and then we'll. But make sure you send us a copy. You know, I ask that you all send us your copy because when we do the committee report, we we do look at it and we do measure, and that carries weight. There's not that many from UOG, so more of you would carry more weight than them, so do it, okay? Oh, and Dr. Carter, you're testifying too, right? So if you can have a seat up here, I will let you testify before Mark, because I think Mark wanted at least 30 minutes of speaking, so. And who? Alabang. You wanted to speak also? Well, then you can come up too, but you'll be right next to there, and then Dr. Carter. Sir, are you ready? Can we get a copy of your testimony? Okay. Just get a copy. Okay, when you're done. Thank you.
Okay. Half a day. My name is Angelo Pauly, and I am a current. Okay, sorry. Half a day. My name is Angelo Pauly, and I am a current Merit Award recipient who signed the contract to begin classes at UOG in fall 2018. My testimony is in support of Bill number 253-35. I, like many others, was briefed on Public Law 34-151's effects only at the beginning of the fall 2019 semester. Not only was this notice not enough time to adjust in the short term, but the long-term absence of such crucial Pell funding was not what I signed on Merit for. Merit students who also receive Pell find themselves being punished for an aspect of their lives that they currently have no control over, which is their economic situation. For the Merit Award, in contrast, it is offered regardless of need because it is tied to academic performance. The Pell Grant provides a cushion for those merit recipients who also receive financial assistance. Up to this point, I referred to Pell recipients as individuals, but in reality, it's given based on the needs of our families. And since so many of us live with family, we also feel the need to assist them however we can. The initial beneficiaries of Pell and Bill number 253-35 may seem like a small pool. However, if you multiply that number by how many relatives each of us lives with, you will find that a little assistance to one family member goes a long way for all. I currently support Bill number 253-35. However, in the future, I would prefer that instead of simply grandfathering in merit students who signed on before the effects of Public Law 34-151, that even future merit students do not receive the application of the Pell funding first before merit. And I am sure that even future merit students would opt to receive the same assistance to their families and to themselves. Thank you.
Thank you. Ma'am.
Good evening, Senators. My name is Anna Aguirre. I am a freshman at the University of Guam, a Merit Scholar and a Pell Grant recipient. I'm here to testify in favor of Bill number 253-35. You've been led to believe that passing Bill Public Law 34-151 will only reap positive things for all parties involved. I'm sorry to say this is far from the truth. What was not presented before you then were the ramifications that merit recipients receiving the Pell Grant now have to endure. Senators, receiving the Pell and Merit Award means that kids from low-income families like me can afford to be a little bit more ambitious. To me, it means that the government believes in us enough to provide us financial support so that we can pull our families from the low-income bracket and into better opportunities. The standards of the Merit Scholarship are high enough, but the standards of getting into graduate school is even higher. At least with a Pell Grant, we would be able to even out the odds, because at least then we would have a fighting chance. This was the impression that us merit kids were led to believe. Imagine the devastation on our part when we get to the contract signing and get told on the day of that the much needed financial backing that the Pell Grant would provide us were to be stripped away from us with no previous warning. Having the brains and the work ethic is only half the fight, and I wish that was all we have to give, but we all know that is not the case. That is why I'm here before you now to say that financing is still an issue. Had I not made promises to myself and to others, I would not hesitate to kill my own ambition, because I know that once again, the odds are stacked against us who could literally not afford bigger dreams. The only chance we have to a fair game is being taken away yet again, and we were not told to prepare for it. Merit recipients are a hardworking bunch, and to insinuate that the Pell Grant is being used for trivial things and will be better off redirected somewhere else is honestly so discouraging. I dare not consider a time when low-income merit students would have to choose the next available career instead of the career they've always dreamt of and worked for all their high school life. Senators, we humbly ask that you could reconsider what this bill truly means for us and ultimately for the future of Ireland. Thank you.
Thank you. Ma'am, you're next.
Hafaday, Senators. I'm here to inform you of how Public Law 34-151 has and will affect me should it continue, along with my concerns. As a new student, I did not expect to start the year off with speaking up to an injustice towards the merit recipients such as myself. When I heard about the change, which is the Public Law 34-151, which was officially disseminated to us in the fall semester, when the fall semester was about to start, I knew that there was something wrong. Among much research and talking to fellow merit recipients, friends, families, and instructors, we cannot fathom the intent of the change brought by the UOG officials. As I understand, this change made it that the Pell Grant would be applied first and that the merit will cover the remaining balance, even if there is any. Myself fully qualifying for the Pell and receiving the merit, I have many concerns as to why the two completely separate fundings are being merged, inhibiting its full potential. I would like to start off with questions that I've been asking myself, which show that there is a huge gap in the making and processing of the law, and perhaps you or the UOG officials may have the answer. 1. According to a public hearing, I believe in November 2018, UOG has claimed that one reason for this change was to increase the amount of students benefiting from the SFAP program under merit. If this is so, did UOG give any statistic or information of how they would officially do this? If I'm not mistaken, merit recipients are chosen as 1 for every 50 students. Did UOG say that they would lessen the ratio? As we can't tell the future, will UOG actually change their rules and regulations to include that? If not mentioned at all, shouldn't that suggest an uncertainty in their plan to expand the program, at least for the merit? 2, merit students are obligated to serve the amount of years they have been receiving assistance for school in the form of work on Guam. Since the law drastically changed the amount of assistance SFAP was giving merit recipients, shouldn't the service be changed too, depending on how much you receive? To clarify, for example, if a student qualified for the full amount of Pell, in which was able to cover his or her for all 4 years, the student technically only received the stipends for the years. This amount of SFAP assistance compared to a student not receiving Pell, in which SFAP covered all her courses throughout all 4 years, is going to be thousands of dollars different. So why in the end should they be required to serve the same amount of time? One obviously benefited from the merit less than the other. Additionally, in no fine print does it say that the Pell recipients are to pay back anything, service or money. Again, the 2 awards, Pell and merit, are granted under completely different circumstances. I'm aware that some of my questions are complex and rhetorical, but if you try to see it from the point of view of the students, you will indeed be able to understand my concerns. Now, I would like to share my personal experience with the change. I'm currently in my 2nd semester of college, attending and having attended both the University of Guam and the Guam Community College. I'm not only taking my GEs at GCC, but pursuing a 2nd degree over there. Since the start, I've had to spend extra time getting myself ready for the years so that I would not fall behind and lose my qualifications for the merit. I probably spent more time than other students talking to financial aid at both institutions or making sure I look closely at the different school catalogs, mainly for the matrix articulations and to match my classes between the 2 places. Unfortunately, most of the days in the fall semester were filled with worry and anticipation on when I would be given the money to pay GCC for the courses I had taken and that are part of the matrix. As protocol for merit students at UOG, we can ignore our bill reminders and easily say to whoever awaits our payment, I am a student at the UOG, I am part of the merit. I am not saying that this does not cause some sort of fear to other merit students at UOG, because I know it does, but having to explain at GCC things I didn't know the answer to was different. For most of my whole fall semester, my GCC account was on hold, even after the semester ended, due to a pending payment. Due to a pending payment. I could not request for transcripts, see my semester grades, or even register for the next semester. Getting my deferment letter for spring was also hard and truthfully embarrassing, hearing the people behind the counter not knowing what to do with me or whether or not they should grant my request was uneasy. I had to go back and forth with UOG just to get a little information on what's going on, because all I knew and told GCC was that the money should be coming. I didn't know then, and I didn't know what would happen to me, and I always felt sorry for giving GCC a hard time. If I had access to my financial aid, even if it meant that I would not be used to cover my classes at UOG, I would have just used it at GCC to get it done and over with and free myself. Actually, I would be in the same situation right now in the spring semester had I not used my stipends from the last months to cover my tuition, and if I just waited for the payment from UOG. Furthermore, if this law is amended, which I truly hope it does, I can use my Pell Grant to pay for my courses at GCC that are not in the articulation agreement, such as most of my criminal justice classes. I can only pray that my testimony has given you a glimpse of what the diversity of problems that Public Law 34-151 has caused us students. Lastly, I'd like to leave you on one more note. Although I'm in favor for the proposed bill 253-35, I believe that grandfathering is not a long-term solution to the whole problem that students qualifying for federal assistance are targeted by the institution to save money. I do not want to prolong the process for others, but I hope that somewhere down the line, another amendment can be made to totally eliminate the public law for the sake of others, and for the sake of justice. I'm aware that not all things can be solved and balanced, but I urge you all to really think about this and the next generations after the grandfathering is dismantled. Will it be fair for them? With my points hopefully clear enough, I sincerely thank you for taking the time to listen and hear our concerns, as well as try to understand its importance to us. Thank you.
Sir, thank you.
Buenas and Hoffaday, Senator San Agustin, Senator Shelton, Senator Castro. I am Alda Bang, a member of the 32nd Guam Youth Congress and a University of Guam student, and I want to clarify that I'm not a merit scholar. I'm testifying in support of Bill 253-35 COR because last year I came here to testify in support of Public Law 34-151 when it's still a bill. When Public Law 34-151 passed, most of the merit scholars were not informed about the new law regarding merit scholarship. Since the passage of the public law, many of the merit scholars within the University of Guam, whom I've served as my capacity as Guam Youth Congress representative, voiced out their concern about the law. Most of them felt that they are left in the dark and not notified until August of 2019, a few months after the bill was passed in December of 2018. Today, I come again before this body to testify in support of Bill 253-35 COR, which would exempt current merit scholars from the changes that the public law has established. This will provide clarity on the public law on when it shall be effective, which will be next fall. Additionally, the original intent of Public Law 34-151 was to spread out the funding provided for the Student Financial Assistance Program, or SFAF, to have more merit scholars. However, I would like to say that there is no evidence that this intent was being accomplished. Furthermore, Public Law 34-151 left too much room for the universities and college to create their own policies regarding this law. Bill 253-35 provides more clarity and strength to the public law and to correct the implication that it had for the merit scholar recipients. I would like to commend the merit scholar recipients who stand up and voice out their concerns today. I especially commend the leadership of Senator Amanda Shelton, who has been student advocate to enrich and enhance student life within the University of Guam and the Guam Community College. I also want to further commend her for always reaching out and listening to the students. I extend further commendation to Senator Joseph Agustin, Vice Speaker Tina Nelson, Speaker Tina Muñoz Barnes, for supporting this legislation and hearing the voices of our merit scholars. And senators, if I may add on, if the bill was passed in December and students were not informed until August, I feel that there is a breach of open government law, because this merit students doesn't know until that August. That's 8 months since the bill was passed. So if you guys can just revisit the open government law and probably provide solution so that this case won't happen again, for students not to know after the fact. And that's all my testimony. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Okada.
Half a day and good evening. Good evening, Senator Shelton, Senator San Agustin, Senator Castro. Thank you for being here to listen to the voices of our students. I would like to acknowledge Catherine Tabernar for her courage and initiative in testifying here as well. It is important that we understand the impact of this legislation and the Merit Scholarship Law, 17 GCA, Chapter 28, on the students who receive merit funds. As you may be aware, the Guam Community College was included in the Merit Scholarship Program as a result of an amendment to the law in November 2017. The program has only been accessible by our students for 2 academic years. yet the payment of merit scholarship funds, even for GCC, are administered through the University of Guam. This places the unnecessary burden on students who choose to take courses at GCC. In the course of examining the Merit Scholarship Program, I would ask that the members of this body also considering revisiting the restrictions placed on the program to ensure that we fully support all students who, by their academic achievements, have earned the Merit Scholarship. Specific to Bill 253-35, the Guam Community College supports its intent as it addresses the burdens placed on the very students the law is intended to help. Both the Merit Scholarship Program and Pell Grant have encouraged many on our island to pursue post-secondary education. In fact, I was a merit recipient over 35 years ago when I was an undergraduate at UOG. And I can assure you that the program relieves a heavily financial burden from its recipients, allowing them to focus on their studies. Allowing current recipients full access to their merit funding, as well as their Pell Grant, means students like Catherine Tabernar can focus on their academics and complete their degree programs on time. This benefits our entire community, as she will then become a contributing member of our society. The concern with the current law, specific section 28202, is that it places the financial burden of attending college right back on the very students that both the Merit Scholarship and Pell Grant are intended to support. Even more concerning is the condition set forth in section 28202, requiring students to exhaust Pell funding on tuition and fees before accessing any merit funds, only hurt students who need help the most. Unlike the Merit Scholarship, which awards academic performance, Pell Grant is awarded as a function of household income, while the maximum household income allowable for Pell is about $50,000. Most who actually get awarded are well below that ceiling. Requiring students to expend Pell first discriminates against those in lower income households. Grandfathering in existing recipients is a good start, but perhaps amending the law to remove the Pell First provision should be considered. With respect to the bill itself, GCC offers the following specific recommendations for Bill 253-35. Under Section 2 Benefits 28202, and it's in my written testimony, we ask that tuition and fees at the University of Guam and to insert language and the Guam Community College. And under this section, also, that tuition and fees for the academic year will be paid by the Student Financial Assistance Fund for a period of not more than 4 years in an undergraduate program at the University of Guam, but to also add, or for a period of 2 or 4 years at the Guam Community College, now that we have a 4-year baccalaureate program. In addition, we ask that not only for those recipients who signed the contract beginning in the Fanutanan semester, but also, or the fall semester of 2020 at the Guam Community College. And on Section C, allowing for textbooks and school supplies to allow each student receiving funds under this article, beginning with the Fanutanan semester at the University of Guam, and to insert language, or the fall semester of 2020 at the Guam Community College. I would encourage the members of the legislature to work with both GCC and UOG to determine a more effective way to ensure that the intent of merit scholarship is met for all students, without unduly burdening those who are financially challenged as well. As a start, GCC will work with the University of Guam so that merit scholarship funds for GCC students are transferred at the start of the semester to GCC to ensure that they can secure their placement in the courses in which they register. Thank you once again for allowing me to testify this evening. It is GCC's focus of students first, mission always, that we continue to support those who seek to complete their higher education in Guam. In the end, Guam benefits most by having, and I quote, the cream of the crop, unquote, assisting in moving the island forward in the future. Sidus Maasi.
Thank you, Dr. Carter. It's all on you now, Mark.
All right, thank you very much. Let me just read from the prepared statement. I think we gave you guys the copies already. Thank you for the opportunity to provide testimony on Bill 25335. We are providing written testimony in support and opposition to parts of the bill. We specifically support the grandparenting clause, but oppose the revised calculation of merit benefits beginning in Fanachan in 2020. It is our understanding that the change that was enacted in Public Law 34-151 has caused anxiety in some of our students, as we've heard. But it was not the intent at all. The rationale for supporting the passage of Public Law 34-151 was to save costs and allow for continued viability of the Merit Award program in light of the budget shortfalls in SFAP fundings and allotments. It was a win-win solution. The students affected would still have their tuition and fees paid, while the savings from leveraging Pell Awards were to be put back into the SFAP fund. This method of last dollar awarding is used by other jurisdictions across the nation to ensure that all federal funds are utilized first before expenditures of local or institutional funds. We support the grandparenting of current merit recipients that allow for the pre-Public 34-151 calculation of merit benefits. However, we're opposed to the calculation of awards using cost of attendance. And let me explain. A cost of attendance, or COA, is a technical term defined by the Higher Education Act of 1965. I see the citation there. And is required to be published annually by universities and colleges that receive Title IV aid. COA, or cost of attendance, usually consists of direct costs, such as tuition and fees, and indirect costs, such as books and supplies, transportation, room and board, and miscellaneous expenses. Most schools will also have different categories of COA depending on the student's housing plan, on campus, with parent, or off campus. UOG follows the COA convention. And I have an attachment here for our cost of attendance, which will I provide to the committee as well. The cost included in a college or university's cost of attendance are allowances, often based on averages or estimates. Actual costs for individual students may differ. Some of the indirect costs are discretionary and under the student's control. For example, a student can save about half of textbook costs by buying used textbooks or selling the textbooks back to the bookstore at the end of the semester. Students may also appeal to the financial aid office and have their COA adjusted to meet disability-related costs or other reasonable educational expenses. Applying the awarding formula prescribed in this bill to merit awards may result in cost savings, but more likely it will bankrupt the SFAP fund. To illustrate this point, I have an example. When a student submits a FAFSA, which is a free application for federal student aid, they are asked to choose housing plan, on campus, with parent, or off campus. The FAFSA is complete when a student fills in the required information and submits the FAFSA. An EFC, or estimated family contribution, is calculated for each student based on the information they have provided and is used to determine the eligibility for financial aid. So taking a student with an EFC of 0, that individual will be eligible for the Pell Grant. A student with an EFC less than the COA of a school, the cost of attendance of a school, but greater than, and I have a number, 5207, is deemed to have financial need but not necessarily eligible for Pell Grant. A student with an EFC greater than or equal to the school's COA will be deemed to have no financial need and may only qualify for an unsubsidized loan. So a student with 0 EFC and with a housing plan with parent, in this awarding formula in the bill, would have a total merit award of about $7,725. So you take the cost of attendance at UOG with parent, it's $13,920. You minus the EFC for a full-time student, which would be a full-time Pell of $6,195. And the total merit award for that student for the year would be $7,725 under this bill. But a student with an EFC of 5577 with a housing plan with parent, for example, they won't be eligible for Pell Grant, so the Pell Grant would be 0. So the total award for that particular student will be $13,920. Now, those amount changes when you see a student whose housing plan is off campus. Off-campus cost of attendance at UOG is $22,389. If a student has full Pell, you deduct $6,195. The total Pell award for that student, or the total merit award for that student for the year, would be $16,194. On the fourth example, a student with a housing plan of off-campus and no Pell Grant, the total merit award for the student would be $22,389. As of this semester, we have 213 merit students. If half of those students have an EFC that does not qualify them for Pell, and they have a housing plan of off-campus, SFAP would have to spend $2,373,234. That amount would almost be equal to the total expenditure for merit awards in fiscal year 2019. So if you have, in other examples, if you have more students who qualify or don't qualify for Pell and put down off-campus housing, the total expenditures for the SFAP program under merit would probably wipe out the total funding for the SFAP program. Our recommendation moving forward would be to do a couple of things. The first one, which we outlined, is raising stipends for all the students from the tiered system that we have now of $300 for freshmen and sophomore and $500 for juniors and seniors to just one stipend amount of $500 a month for 9 months every year. That would be an extra expenditure of about $212,000. And for the service requirement, we do agree that a student who subsidized the merit with their Pell Award should not be required to serve the same amount of time as a student who received full merit without Pell subsidy. So what we would propose is to take the total expenditure under SFAP, you minus any Pell Grant received, and you divide that amount by 12,000. So an example here is a student with full merit benefits that received full Pell over a 4-year period. That discount would be $24,780. That's the amount of Pell that they would receive over 4 years. and therefore they will receive 26,520 from the merit award. Divide that by 12, and it'll be 2 years of service. While a person who do not receive the benefit of Pell Grant would receive a total of 51,300, and you divide that by 12, and it'll be 4 years of service. That would be a lot fairer for the students. Going back and addressing a couple of issues about when a student receives their financial aid, it really all depends also on when the FAFSA is completed and when documents are submitted to the financial aid office. So, but if there was any specific situations that the students have that resulted in late disbursement of those aid, we would, of course, address those particular issues. And that's it for my testimony.
All right, thank you, Mark. I got a simple question for you. You know, one of the students brought it up. The law requires a certain number of students per school.
Yes,
And Mark, I know for a fact you can come up with the estimated number of possible merit recipient, correct? Total.
Yeah.
Because there's only so many schools. It's not like another school's going to grow.
Correct.
So what is the total number of students that you would expect to be given a merit award? Let's start with that. What is the numbers right now?
Okay.
You have that?
Total is 213. For the last academic year, we awarded 58 students.
58 students. That's total from all the schools, right?
From all the schools, yes.
And what is the cost per student? What is the cost that is factored there per student that receive a merit award?
So it depends. So a student can take up to 21 credits per semester.
Let's go with the high number. Give me a number. What do you have? You have 12 credits for a full time, right? You got 12, or you can go up to what number? 21?
Up to 21.
And then that means the student is there forever. I mean, you know, throughout the day. I mean, I know this. I'm a graduate of UG, okay, so I understand where you guys come from.
All right, so
and it's rough. Anything over 12 is rough.
Okay, so award per academic year.
Let's try 12 credits because they can
12
get to
credits.
a bachelor's degree in 4 years.
12
okay?
credits would be 9,404.
9,404. Okay, and what is budgeted for merit awards in the budget? I don't have it with me, so I can't answer that, but I'll be able to answer it real quick as soon as I get back to my office. What is in your budget to award merit awards? Because the law already tells you the number of students, right? 10,
Right.
I think, with a population of a school, and then when the population is less, you can only give so many for that school. So what is in the budget that you're given?
Yes, so the way that the SFAP budget work is we take the full appropriation, and the president is allowed to allocate that total amount to the different programs under SFAP. So for each academic year, we budget about $2.5 million for merit awards.
Okay, but if we say you give 9404, right, per student,
Right.
and that's times 58, right? That gives you 545,
Mhm.
correct? I'm just doing the simple math with my phone.
Yeah, so right now, there's a total of 214 merit students active.
No. I'm going to follow first the numbers. The numbers don't change, of course. Whatever, it just follows itself. Okay,
Right.
It's not like 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 and make up
Right.
come 21. Okay, and I'm just looking at how you're budgeted, because for the year when you get it, then when you provide your budget, you'll tell us because of the number of students we have in the merit, not any other scholarship, just the merit. Because I think the bill is only talking about the merit and Pell. It's not talking about anything else. So I'm not going to mix everything in one basket. It's just two issues, Pell and merit. Okay? So today, let's hypothetically say, Mark, none of the students are in the Pell Grant. What would it cost the University of Guam for every student that got a merit award? And do you have adequate funding? And if you don't, I don't think there's a message being sent to the legislature that we need funding specifically for merit, because Senator Shelton, who's the oversight in UG, is tapping me and says, let's do a line item budget specifically for merit. So we deal with the merit. Then we figure out, because I have to safely assume that none of these students are in the Pell. You all got a merit. If you qualify for the Pell, then you move on to whatever happens. But the same impact, if your estimate is $9,000, $9,404, that's per year, right, Mark?
Yeah, so.
Okay, so I would take a look at the factor of GC, what it's costing, and this is where we're going to work on the budget, because it's coming up. I mean, we're going to be hearing you and GCC very soon, and I'll be looking forward to see specifically what is it costing.
Yeah,
And then there's an estimate that's got to be identified by GC how they're going to be drawing from your fund to make sure.
Yeah, so over the last couple of years, what we've spent on merit, starting at 2017, was
You spent $500,000 a year.
$2
on merit.
million, yeah, $2,231,792.
Okay.
792.
Okay, 2 million.
And 2018 was 2.4 million, and 2019 2.4 million.
So 2.4 is basically what you would need specifically for merit.
Yeah.
Because the Pell wasn't an issue when you got to 2.4.
Right.
So if you maintain 2.4 every year, you would be good. The Pell would not be an issue to help you on anything
that's
else
true,
you would
but
desire.
the way that the funding for SFAP work is we're given a lump sum, and that amount, which is let's see, appropriation request for 2019 was 3.2 million. 3.2 million was total SFAP funds. Of the 3.2 million, 2.4 was used for merit.
Okay, we'll sit down on your budget on that when it comes to the University of Guam. But my only concern is that this bill is referencing merit recipients, which most of you are, and Pell Grant. And the intent of 34-151 was specifically to assist and get more merit recipient. Obviously, the law restricts you only can do so much, 58, period. So maybe that's not how that bill 34-151 actually worked out. And I happen to be the author of the bill. So it's kind of like not very good taste even with water in my mouth. And I'm concerned because I understand where the students are coming from. I'm a grandfather of 10. I have kids that are going to the University of Hawaii. I have three of my our grandkids are going to the university. And if they were caught in that same predicament, I'd probably be bent out of shape. It was like, hey, if you got an ability to get financial assistance, and if you're awarded a scholarship, use the scholarship, then fix whatever. If you want it, if we say the merit says 12 credits, that's all the merit's going to pay for. If you want to go to 21, then you fund it. I mean, you just got to work it because you got 4 years to get your bachelor's degree. Now, if you complete it sooner, then so be it. Then the 4 years becomes 3 or whatever. But thank you for your testimony, and we will be working with you and Dr. Christ with the budget. Yes, Dr. Anita.
Yes, thank you, Senators, for allowing me to speak. I'm very heartened hearing the testimonies from our students and certainly understand their situation. Most of our students come from very similar backgrounds, not just our merit scholars. And I just wanted to provide some context about the Student Financial Assistance Program. The Merit Scholarship is really the last scholarship out of all those that are within our Student Financial Assistance Program funding portfolio that has not availed of the Pell Grant before moving into the actual awards. The idea came from the nursing scholarship, which also falls under the SFAP funding. And so nursing scholars like the education majors from the Yamashita Educator Corps and others must first pursue the Pell Grant before taking advantage of the awards that come also funded by SFAP. Because of the declining budget that we've received specifically for SFAP, to which we've always provided merit funding first before anything else, the university was trying to be resourceful, taking a look at how we've treated other scholarships. And essentially, because of the timing, we do agree that we need to grandfather the students who have come in during the Fanu Chana 2019 semester. But in looking at the total cost of attendance that is specified within this bill, as presented by Mr. Duarte, who is the head of our financial aid office, the impact of that, if we took the highest possible cost of attendance, would be $4.7 million, way above the $3.2 million that has been appropriated. In effect, that will not be sufficient to cover all of the merit scholars, and we have to discontinue funding for our nursing majors, our social work majors, which haven't been funded yet, our health science majors, which haven't been funded yet, educator corps, and so forth. There's a whole listing of others who still have socioeconomic, are in the same socioeconomic status. We have a lot of first-generation college learners. We have a good percentage of students who are dependent on Pell Grant. As a first-generation public school graduate on Guam, I know the hardship. I had to work 3 part-time jobs. I couldn't get any Pell Grant. Took 21 credit hours, but I survived. As the person in charge of the College Affordability Initiative at the University of Guam, we are looking for more opportunities for scholarship funding for our students. The young student Noah, who is majoring in civil engineering, the Society for American Military Engineers that just donated a check of $20,200, and every year raises an incredible amount of money in addition to the corporate sponsorships for civil engineering majors. So we will take that into consideration and make sure that NOAA gets more funding. We do have other ways in which we fund our students who are in great need, but if we support this bill in its totality, it will bankrupt the Student Financial Assistance Program funding, and there will not be sufficient to cover all 213 merit scholars. So we appeal to the legislature, the senators as our partners towards making college affordable for all of our students, to take that into consideration when the university submits its budget and requests for the amount that it needs to cover all of our students who fall within the SFAP portfolio. And so with that, we do support grandfathering our merit scholars so that they can take care of their needs. We do support increasing the monthly stipend from 300 and 400 tier to 500 flat, and we hope that we can come up with an amicable solution with our senators working in partnership to support college affordability at the University of Guam and the Guam Community College, because this has been an ongoing issue for UOG. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Anita. On this bill, we're talking about merit and Pell. When we sit down during the budget of UOG and GCC, at least I know the number, it's $9,400 a year. Then we'll discuss that. But I just want to make sure that Senator Amanda, the author of the bill, and Senator Castro, who's an educator also, we bring some justice to what has happened. Okay? I wish there was this many students when my bill was being heard. I really do. I'm basically sending a message to the people of Guam, students at University of Guam, GC, even at high schools and private schools. Please watch the show. Learn from this so we don't have to go back in time. Let's try to fix it forward. We try to fix the University of Guam, because there's no sense trying to run you broke. It doesn't work that way. You still need to go to university and so forth. Okay? Senator Amanda, do you have any questions, ma'am?
No questions. I just want to again thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank the panel and all of the administrators from the University of Guam, also President Okada for joining us, and the students who are all here today, teachers, former merit scholars. Thank you very much for all of your input, and so we will take all of your testimony today into consideration, and I'll work with the chair here as we amend the bill and hopefully move it forward in the next session.
Senator Castro.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Before I get into my comments, I couldn't help but but laugh because I don't remember seeing Mr. San Agustin in my 085 class. But if we need another session to go over that UOG budget, Mr. Chairman. Buenas noches para Hago, Senor Didasco, Hahasuhao. Also to the teacher, the Senora Tedinko was here. It's always encouraging to see K through 12 teachers in the House in advocacy of their students' concerns and carrying their voice forward. Also want to thank all of you for coming this evening, especially for those who may not be merit recipients. You had disclosed that, but who have been elected among yourselves to take up a leadership role, namely Congreso Nolan Flores Manogagel, para Haguloquit, Mr. Labang, members of the Guam Youth Congress. You know, for the record, I know it's hard to see this from your vantage point, but many of us have gone to the university and have actually felt or experienced a struggle like you. I was a University of Guam student in my first semester. My house burned down. I had to change majors to afford the opportunity for myself to go to school. And like yourself, Madam Vice President, I too had 2 jobs. Throughout my college career. And so I understand the struggle. As a matter of fact, in many ways, I empathize with you. I empathize. In some ways, I can't empathize because I'm not a merit scholar, but I certainly can see and understand the importance of honoring a contract. I had to change from being an accounting major to be a teacher corps major because they had a great program that gave us stipend, that paid tuition and books, etc. And my struggle at the time was that upon graduation, there weren't enough teaching positions, ironically, there weren't enough teaching positions at the time of application. And so I was worried about fulfilling my contract. While the easy out would have been not to take the job and be relieved of that contractual obligation, I too came out and spoke out about the need to prioritize teacher corps recipients. And the point of that short story is that you are here advocating to honor the contract because you are an affected population. You had matriculated, as I understand, you had matriculated as a student when this program was implemented. And I just want to say something, not necessarily in defense of the university, but in acknowledging the facts. And I don't think for a moment that the president and the senior vice president or my good friend, Director Duarte, who also was a student and student government official, as well as the dean back there, had any intention to abruptly make it harder on anybody. And so I do see a happy medium here. I do see a compromise. And I say, yes, you are the cream of the crop, and I can acknowledge that. And yes, you had a struggle. A young lady, it was very emotional. Thank you for sharing your story. I see some of you also tearing while others were speaking, and I could tell that you too were empathizing. So I understand the struggle, and I thank you for having the humility to come here and tell your story. So I support that. Yes, I support continuing your education as you had initially signed up for. As for the other mentions, Mr. Chairman, in terms of revisiting the bill as it was passed, and so that you wouldn't take the hit alone, I too co-sponsored that because I understood the financial context in which the bill was implemented, discussed, and passed. At the end of the day, I think the good chairman's decision and wisdom with the counsel of his colleagues and experts in the field would find a happy medium. But the reality is there are some severe financial struggles that we're dealing with, and it's going to get worse, and I hope it doesn't. But that's not going to be your concern right now because we're addressing you and your merit program as it is, as you stand as a promising young member of this community. But I won't sit here and promise you that all things will be great for all merit recipients going forward. I think we're going to have to be responsible individuals as lawmakers, and again, not to your concern, but it's important for people watching. Because those coming after tonight who may be affected by this, there's a rhyme and a reason why university officials at that level make these kind of decisions. And then it comes back to us as if we're not compassionate, not considerate. We take the unpopular position. But again, I think all three of us sit here in unison in supporting your existing contractual obligation as you saw it and signed up for it to be. But I do want to say, with the exception of the amendment recommended by the president of the Guam Community College, Mr. Chairman, I do support continuing, or grandfathering rather, those who had qualified to receive the merit scholarship. But I do hold in reservation any other discussion. Would like to understand, I know I joked about the numbers being tossed around, but it's important that we have a separate discussion, I hope, so I can support any amendments on this bill that were also proffered here. I just want to say that for the record. I don't want to have you walk away feeling like I support a complete overhaul of the program when that's not what I support. What I support is honoring the contractual obligation, if you will, to use the term loosely, but so that you're not disrupted. You're not disrupted in your education so that you can come back. Because I have colleagues in this community who have never left and others who have come back. And that's the great hope. And God bless you. I hope you fulfill the term at the university and continue to support the good graduate here, also a fellow alum. Mr. San Agustin here, the good chairman, is an alum, and I too am an alum. And but thank you, Madam Vice President, Madam President, members of the Youth Congress, and all of you for your testimony. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Akash, also for taking the bold step forward to recommend the things that you did. Thank you.
We will have a solution. There will be one. Is there anyone else who would like to testify? And the only reason why I said that because your budgets are coming up. That's why I'm very confident we'll have a solution for the students. There being none, this committee will conclude the public hearing for Bill 253-35 COR. Committee will continue to receive testimony for the next few days. Please address your written testimony to the Committee on General Government Operation, Appropriation, and Housing, and submit it via email to Senator Joe S. Sanagustin@gmail.com. Jesus Masi for your attendance and participating in today's hearing. And for those at home, thank you for watching. This public hearing for Bill 253-35 is now adjourned. Good night.